Hello! It's my final Hill Farmstead bottle review for a while probably, and it's Table Dorothy, which actually if you look at it just looks like it's a smaller logo and just says Dorothy, but it actually does say Farmstead Table Pale Ale. So it's another Brett Saison. It's dry hopped like regular Dorothy, but 4.5% alcohol. Yeah, it says that, and the date is July 7th. Yeah, when it was bottled. So it's just like a month and a week old. I'm guessing the dry hopping will be noticeable. They don't say exactly which hops. I think they usually use Citra, and on here it says American hops. So I'm guessing it's probably Citra. And they don't say Brettanomyces on here, which I think they do with Dorothy, but they do say a low alcohol version of Dorothy. And I've had Table Dorothy before last winter, but that one was an aged one. It was getting pretty darn funky. I am kind of excited to try this sort of fresh. It's even fresher than the regular Dorothy I had because I love my Brettanomyces and my hops together. And I use wheat and barley, and I think that's it, yeah. And their distinctive yeast. It's been in the fridge for a while. My friends bought this bottle for me a little over a week ago. And there's no foaming or anything. Some of their other ones foamed up slightly when I opened them, but this is pretty darn fresh. And I'm already smelling a little bit of a resinous hop character over the tart funk. I really love the slightly aged Table Dorothy I had last winter, and it's pouring real beautifully. Ooh, rather hazy. That's how a lot of the Hill Farmstead Saisons look, but some of the ones that I had sitting for longer, a lot of the haze fell to the bottom, but hopefully the hops will be even more noticeable with the haze still in suspension. Oh yeah. Wow, there's a lot of bubblegum kind of cotton candy happening mixed with some slight tropical fruit, but plenty of tart citrus too. Yeah, it almost smells like they use mosaic, but citrus, of course, similar. And I'm thinking that the fresher Citra combined with their really traditional yeast strain is making it move towards a sweeter, candier end. Candier? Yeah. Rather than the normal pear, spice, earth that I get from their Saison yeast. I don't know if it's quite passion fruit I'm getting in there, but super like tart, unripe pineapple is in there with just a hint of lemon, some grapefruit, a pretty strong aroma. And yeah, it hasn't developed so much funk yet. It's definitely got a clear Brettanomyces fruitiness blending in with the hops. It's really nice. But it's still on the tropical juice, guava juicy side. Not getting into the real funk. When I looked at my Table Dorothy notes from last winter, that one I said things like almost like porta potty, shiitake mushroom, really well developed Brettanomyces funk. But this one hasn't really gotten a chance to do that. Yeah, it's really nice. This is one of my favorite styles, and a lot of like hoppy Brett Saisons and Brett IPAs have been coming out. And this one is, of course, Dorothy's one of the standards probably for an American hoppy Brett beer. Ooh, so fluffy on the palate, high carbonation, but so light, but spicy and really dry. And it's just, whoa. It finishes real quick, but then I got some lingering herbal, hay, earth, woody, and very slight aspirin, bitter pill, Brettanomyces finish. It's really nice. It's 4.5% alcohol, and it's like so effortless to drink, at least that first sip, but very bright. It's so light and airy on the tongue. That's really, really nice. That's really well done. And the regular Dorothy is 7%, which is pretty hefty. but this is pulling out so much flavor and aroma for 4.5. And I love that super light feel. It's perfect for another warm summer day like it is. It's like airy. It's not just a normal fluffy with some sweetness. It almost feels like it's not even liquid on your tongue. It's so light and fluffy, and I can't quite see the bubbles, but I think there's really tiny bubbles coming out of there from the natural bottle conditioning. And there's not much hop bitterness, but definitely a little bit of hop green quality in there. It's not quite, it's like really edging on scallion. Maybe it's more just like fresh cut chives. It's just like fresh, only slightly hot chives, not actually an onion funky heat from the hops, which I think are Citra still. And it blends really well with the slightly developed funk of the Brett. It's really nice. And it has been pretty cold, so I think I'm noticing a more Brett funk. But I'm getting a very, very slight mushroom thing happening, like dried mushrooms. Pretty savory too. After a few sips, I'm getting a lot of really earthy herbal tea, with a slight woody mushroom thing happening now in my tongue. That's really nice after the very bright citrusy, unripe tropical fruit aromas. Yeah, it smells actually like it was going to be more sour than it is, and I like how it's not very sour, because all their other Saisons are significantly sour. Like, it's kind of odd. Their Brett Saisons are the least sour because probably the Brettanomyces takes over and prevents the lactobacillus, what other souring cultures might be in there, from making a really strong lactic acid presence like there was especially in their Florence. But Clara had it too, and so did Arthur. But this one was not I wouldn't call this a sour, like some people are, because that's not the main flavor. It's not like a lemony tartness, which I like a lot, because the lemony tartness is getting boring, and it can kind of put a beer off kilter and make the other elements not as noticeable. But this is very nice. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one like a 90 or something like that. 90 bags of popcorn. Even though the finish is almost too dry and herbal, but there isn't very much bitterness. There is that chalky bitter pill Brett in the finish, but that makes it so it just is more refreshing. And it's so dry but fluffy. It's a really well made beer. It's probably the best lower alcohol hoppy Brett beer. There's of course the Allagash Low Brett came out, which is really great when it's fresh, but it wasn't bottle conditioned. So now that beer is like coming up on 4 months old, it pales in comparison to some fresher hoppy Brett beers that are out there. And this one and Dorothy are kind of the standard. They definitely are not IPAs though. They're not Brett IPAs. They're Brettanomyces Saisons with Saison qualities first. It's got some of that clove in there too, and the pear. Yeah, it's not much bubblegum. At first, the aroma just seems kind of sweet, tart fruits and bubblegum. But I'm noticing that there's some clear traditional Saison, clove and pear in there happening. And it's not too appley. Sometimes with these beers I can get a lot of acetaldehyde, green, and like some red apple flavors. Like there's a slight red apple maybe, but it's not cidery in my opinion. Yeah, this is very good beer. I almost maybe recommend it over Dorothy. Maybe just because I'm having this one fresher, but I guess I'd have to try them side by side or check my Dorothy review, because I feel like that one I like Dorothy a lot, but this one is just standing out as a little bit more unique. Yeah, and it's getting funkier now. I'm definitely getting some grassy, weird, fermented, solventy, not quite weird porta potty smells or anything like that. It'll be off-putting to most people, but yeah, definitely solventy, mushroomy things are happening, but not overboard, where it's off-putting, in my opinion. So we'll do 90 for Table Dorothy. Goodbye.